Why would a boy who was once hunted down by his own family, dragged back to his village in shame for chasing a worthless dream, eventually become the only man Jurgen Klopp would personally call begging for forgiveness? This is not just a football story, it's a saga of defiance, a testament to an impossible will and the incredible journey of Sadio Mane, the fugitive who conquered Europe. In the remote, dust-swept village of Bambali, Senegal, football was a pastime, a fleeting joy, never a profession. The elders had a saying, "Dust doesn't turn to gold." To them, the endless hours young Sadio spent with a battered ball were a distraction from the only path they knew, school. His mother and uncle, burdened by the harsh realities of village life, had seen the dreams of countless boys swallowed by the barren fields. They envisioned a stable life for Sadio, one free from the elusive phantom of professional football. But Sadio heard a different calling. It was a whisper in the wind, a thrumming beneath his feet with every touch of the ball, a voice that told him his destiny lay far beyond the dusty paths of Bambali. At 16, unable to silence this internal clamor, he made a choice that would brand him a rebel. He packed a small, worn bag, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs, and slipped away under the cover of night. His destination? Dakar, the bustling capital, an 8-hour journey away, a world he had only seen in stories. He left no note, no explanation, only the echo of his footsteps on the dirt. For a week, Sadio was a ghost, a hopeful vagrant, enduring trials, sleeping wherever he could find refuge. His family, meanwhile, was consumed by fear and anger. When they finally tracked him down in the sprawling metropolis, there was no embrace of pride, only the heavy hand of disappointment. He was dragged back to Bambali, not as a hero, but as a runaway who had shamed them, a dreamer who had indulged in a dangerous fantasy. Yet in that moment of apparent defeat, Sadio forged his first victory. He stared into the eyes of his mother and uncle. Resolute, unbreakable, he struck a bargain. "One more year of school," he conceded, "and then you must let me chase my dream, by any means necessary." They saw the unyielding fire in his gaze, a conviction that transcended their fears. They agreed. 6 months later, with their reluctant blessing and the collective contributions of his entire village, the boy who had never left Bambali was stepping onto a plane, bound for France, for a future that was anything but certain. A revelation in Metz, January 2011, was not the romantic European dream Sadio had envisioned. Metz, France was a brutal shock to his system. The Saharan sun was replaced by a biting, unforgiving cold that seeped into his bones. His body, conditioned for equatorial heat, physically recoiled. The club was forced to pull him from training, unable to cope with the relentless shivers. Then, just weeks after his arrival, another setback. A devastating 6-month injury threatened to send him back home, a specter of failure looming large. By the time he recovered, he was buried deep in the reserves, a forgotten name in the vast roster of FC Metz. Restless, desperate for minutes on the pitch, he pleaded with his coaches for a loan to a lower league. "Wait until January," they advised, a refrain that felt like a death knell to his accelerating ambition. But fate, it seems, had other plans. As the calendar turned towards the African Cup of Nations, a mass exodus began. Metz's senior squad was decimated, their best players called away to national duty. A desperate coach sifting through his depleted ranks reluctantly extended an invitation to the forgotten boy from Bambali. Sadio didn't just walk through that door. He kicked it off its hinges. His performances were a revelation. He scored, he assisted, he ran tirelessly, injecting a raw, untamed energy into the struggling team. Yet, the shadow of the returning stars loomed. Sadio knew that when the AFCON players returned, he would be the first to be sent back to the reserves. He refused to let it happen. He became a ghost in the pre-dawn hours, rising at 6 a.m., sprinting through the freezing French fog for 2 hours before the official team training even began. He wanted to be stronger, faster, hungrier than anyone. When the veterans returned, they found their positions not merely filled, but utterly owned by a kid whose desire burned brighter than the stadium lights. Sadio Mane had arrived, and he was not going back. Sadio's raw talent was undeniable, but as he moved to Red Bull Salzburg, a new challenge emerged. Under the demanding tutelage of Ralf Rangnick, he discovered his game was still street, physical, instinctive, but tactically deficient. Rangnick saw a diamond, but one that needed rigorous cutting and polishing. He immersed Sadio in the philosophy of gegenpressing. the art of winning the ball back immediately after losing it, turning defense into attack in a blink. Sadio's mind, once solely focused on individual brilliance, began to process the intricate dance of tactical football. This evolution caught the eye of a manager who was rapidly becoming one of Europe's most influential figures, Jurgen Klopp, then at Borussia Dortmund. Klopp, a pioneer of gegenpressing himself, recognized a kindred spirit in Mane. They met, they talked tactics, movement, the fierce philosophy of how they would dismantle opponents. The chemistry was instantaneous, the connection undeniable. Yet, for reasons unclear, the deal collapsed. Sadio felt the sting of a no from the very top, a reminder that even immense talent didn't guarantee a smooth path. He moved to Southampton, a significant step, but the ghost of that failed meeting in Dortmund lingered, a silent what-if hanging in the air. At Southampton, Sadio Mane truly blossomed into a Premier League force. His electrifying pace, clinical finishing, and relentless work rate made him a nightmare for defenders. By 2016, his performances were too loud to ignore, and the giants of English football began to circle. The first call came from Louis van Gaal, manager of Manchester United. Van Gaal, known for his meticulous planning and the allure of Old Trafford, laid out his vision, but Sadio was wary. He looked at United's star-studded lineup: Di Maria, Depay, Rooney, Van Persie. He knew he didn't want a trophy on the bench. He craved the feeling of grass under his boots every single game. Van Gaal, unable to guarantee the playing time Sadio demanded, failed to sway him. Next came Mauricio Pochettino and Tottenham. Pochettino's project was dynamic, exciting, and the training facilities were world-class. Sadio visited, he was impressed, and he told his agents to begin discussions. He was on the verge of becoming a spur, a pivotal moment in his career just days from being sealed. 3 days. Just 3 days before he was set to commit to Tottenham, the phone rang. The voice on the other end was familiar, distinct, and carried a weight that immediately grabbed Sadio's attention. It was Jurgen Klopp. Klopp didn't launch into a sales pitch about Liverpool's history or its future trophies. He started with an apology. "I made a mistake at Dortmund," Klopp confessed, taking full responsibility for the failed transfer years earlier. He explained that he regretted letting Sadio slip through his fingers then, and he wouldn't make the same mistake again. Then, Klopp laid out his vision not just for a club, but for a revolution. "I want to build a team that nobody wants to play against." Sadio was captivated, but still cautious. Liverpool boasted attacking talents like Coutinho, Firmino, and Sturridge. "Will I play every game?" he asked, his voice betraying the anxiety of a player who had already turned down giants for the guarantee of minutes. Klopp's answer was firm, unwavering, and resonated with the unyielding desire Sadio had carried since Bambali. "You will play every game." That promise, coupled with the tactical familiarity from their Dortmund meeting, sealed the deal. Sadio Mane chose Liverpool. From that moment, the boy who fled his village in rags, the fugitive who dared to dream beyond the dust, became the heartbeat of Jurgen Klopp's relentless Liverpool machine. He formed one-third of perhaps the most feared attacking trident in modern football history. His goals, his relentless pressing, and his infectious smile propelled Liverpool to unimaginable heights. He lifted the UEFA Champions League trophy in 2019, a moment where the weight of his impossible journey was finally, gloriously validated. He then added the Premier League title in 2020, ending a 30-year wait for the club. Beyond the trophies, he became an icon, revered for his humility, his faith, and his tireless work for his community back in Senegal. The journey of Sadio Mane is more than just a footballer's rise. It's a defiant roar against expectations, a testament to the power of self-belief, and a vivid illustration that sometimes the greatest dreams are born not from convenience, but from a desperate, unwavering refusal to be anything less than extraordinary. He ran away from Bambali, not out of fear, but to chase a destiny only he could see, and in doing so, he became a king.